I mean, it's very simple, but it works. If someone takes a razor-sharp sword, swings it violently at your head, the best thing you can do is move. Again, it's not rocket science, but I teach this for a living. Do you know what the hardest thing to teach my students to do is? Move! Get your body out of the way. So you take up this space, sword comes in, and you're not in that space. Out of the way. Out of the way. And as long as the sword and your body don't, that's it.
Where are you going?
That's it, I'm done. I'm not sitting by you. Oh! Hi, how are you? Enjoying the show?
Get back
You think
here!
you can block if she comes after me? What if I just hold you in front of me? Oh, right, that's your job. Never mind. Hi!
Get back up here!
No! Look, we get hired to do these conventions, and our show is based on, very loosely based, on educational entertainment. I make bad jokes, you laugh because I'm armed and suddenly among you in the audience. And you don't know my impulse control, but we're actually teaching martial science. This movement, Tai Sabaki, basic body movement. Any attack that comes down the center line, you get parallel to. Forwards to the side. And it doesn't matter. It can be a front kick, reverse punch, really slow arrow, or psychotic with a sword. You get out, and as long as you get out of the way, you live. So I explain it once. Move. The army guy goes, I got that. You know why? He's in the army. He's seen army tanks. This block does not work. So he goes, yep, got it. Get out of the way. I demonstrate once. He's got it figured out. I'm going to move. By the second time, he has it figured out. And by the third time, even the dumbest person in the room knows you didn't stop after 3. You just kept going.
Yes.
That's no longer education. That's abuse. I didn't sign on for abuse.
Yes, you did. You married me.
We're right back to the spousal abuse thing. All right, fine.
Look, the show must go on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
All right, fine. Will you continue with the show if you get to play with your sword?
Sunday. Let's rescue that before the kids figure out what you just said. Ta-da! Don't cheer for that! Have your expectations for the show gotten that low?
Yes.
I mean, I know you're just my favorite and trying to be supportive, but this is not sword combat. This isn't even good stage sword combat. We're not even aiming at each other, and if we miss, the only person going to die is him. And that's been overdue. That's not combat on the battlefield. That's not even a good fight at my house on Friday night. Because when she gets angry, and she will, there's nothing you can do. That frying pan, did anybody see Tangled? Frying pans, who knew, right? You don't need a $2,000 sword. Just go to Walmart and get a good iron skillet. That frying pan's not going over there. It's not going over there. It's going right down Broadway. Because on a non-blonde, that's a lethal injury.
Coming down Broadway now, dear.
And that brings me to the next part of our show. If someone takes a sword and swings it at your head, if you have a sword too, don't die.
Good advice.
Again, not rocket science, but I teach this for a living. I want you to watch. 20 years of training went into this next martial move. You ready? All right, bring it. I call this move blocking.
Blocking is good.
I highly recommend blocking. And just to be clear, I teach Japanese arts for a living. I can teach an entire class without using any English at all. I do not understand conversational Japanese, but 16th century armed combat, I can teach the whole class without using English. This particular move, I call blocking. And I call it blocking because you anime nerds have ruined the correct terminology for this. And I can demonstrate. You're going to hear giggling. You're not going to be able to help yourselves. The Japanese term for this, what? She swings and uke! Uke means receiver of the technique. And in traditional Japanese martial arts, uke! At anime cons, uke has an entirely different connotation. Still means receiver of the technique. So I'm told. So, if it's okay with you, blocking. The way it works, bad guy swings, you put your sword between their blade and your face, thus preserving this.
That's good.
I know, why bother, right? Thanks.
You forgot something again.
No, you swung, I put the sword, I put it behind my head once, didn't help at all.
He left part out.
Right, I should have rolled up the sleeve and shown off the guns. Rah! Like Thor. Oh God, who did that? Stop it. Seek help. This was supposed to be a joke. Like Thor, right?
Yeah, without the hair.
Oh!
It's okay, he got a haircut too.
I liked his joke better.
All right, how about we let you show off and see if they can figure it out. Ready?
Bring it.
Ah!
Okay! I mean,
okay, hit me back.
you got it, but... Alright, this sucks.
Yep.
Not in a good way.
Should.
Look at it, because it's shiny.
Shiny. No, don't look at it because it's shiny.
Don't laugh. It worked. Do you know why it worked? Have you heard the term ADO? Oh, who am I kidding? We're in Anime Con. We coined that phrase. We learned a new term about 6 months ago. It's called ADOS. It stands for Attention Deficit. Oh, shiny! And my wife is loaded with this disease that sounded way worse than I mentioned.
I'm pretty sure these guys have been paying better attention than you.
It's possible.
So let's see if they got it figured out. If someone swings a sword violently at your head, you should.
Oh, you guys know we're from Iowa. That's like a mating call where we're from.
No, that was a bee. What is wrong with you?
It gets cold in Iowa. The first time I made that joke, we were on stage, and it was not in our script, and our son was on stage behind us, and I did the moo. My son looked at his stepmom and went, "That explains so much about my mother." We were at a theater, you know, that had the hanging mics that angle in so the stage actors don't need the remote mics. The hanging mic picked it up and broadcast it. So I'm gonna go, okay, and then I'm gonna go sit back there.
No. Look, this is simple.
I like simple.
You have to block and move at the same time.
Whoa! Not happening. There's no way I'm doing two things at the same time. It's impossible. I'm a man. Really? No, it's important. That's so weird. The guys laughed at that joke. Usually it's just the girls, and I have to come back with the whole ladies before you enjoy yourselves too much. I have 2 words for you. Stick, shift. Manual transfer. And I make that joke because my wife's an Iowa farm kid. She's better with a clutch than I am. Hi.
All right, we're going to make life easy on you since you like easy. You swing your sword at me, and I'll show these guys how the blocking and moving thing works. Sunday morning.
Yeah, I won't make any comments about my helper.
She'll kill you if you do.
I'm braver when I'm armed. All right.
I'm going to block and move.
Yeah, blah, 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 whatever. I get hit you with my sword.
Yep.
I love this show. Goodbye.
I win.
That did not work out the way I thought it was going to.
Oh, do you want to try again, dude?
Yes, dear, I'm much better the second time. Ready? That was kind of a late snark giggle. But you're right, it's Sunday.
No, I still win.
I lost my voice. I hope that doesn't mean I'm about to go through a growth spurt. One more time. Go! All right, stop it. Quit it. That's it. I'm done.
You can't quit.
I'm quitting. Look, no matter what.
You know what's going on in your brain, and then not gonna let you happen. Oh my God.
Did you really say you know what's going on in my brain? You are the only person. I don't even know. It's my brain.
How about we go with a stunt double for Scarlett?
A stunt double.
I'm pretty sure.
For her. Who do you think you are, kid? Tom Cruise?
Don't be ridiculous. She's much taller.
Practice known as sujigiri. Smart enough not to get on the stand, not smart enough to find her way back to her seat. Sorry, you didn't think I noticed that, did you? I'm like, that's me in the Walmart parking lot every time I try to go back to my car. Sujigiri meant peasant cutting. And if we have anybody that speaks Japanese, sujigiri does not translate as peasant cutting. Sujigiri, as literally as Japanese gets translated, sujigiri refers to a crossing of two paths. It's a euphemism. One of those paths is a razor-sharp sword, and the other is Scarlet. And this was legal in Japan in the 17th century for 10 years. It was abolished by the samurai clans because they deemed it inconvenient. I know that's terrible, but times haven't changed. The people in charge don't really care about the peasants anyway. They abolished it because if that guy sends his peasants to go get him a drink of water, and I want to see if my new toy is sharp, and just cut them down, he has to go get his own drink of water. And that's inconvenient. So after a while, they abolished sujigiri. The terrifying thing is it was actually legal in Japan for 10 years. Can you imagine 10 years of having to live with the idea if you sent your kid out of the house and may not come back? Actually, that may not be it. No. Okay. I can fill that time.
That's not a concern.
What the samurai settled on after some trial and error with prisoners and then dead bodies, and they settled on this. This is rice straw. You know, rice being the staple of Japanese agriculture. They use its products for almost everything. And what they discovered is that if you take rice straw, gather it into bundles, tie it off with these authentic 16th century rubber bands, inconvenient. If you soak it in water overnight, the water soaks into the fibers. It swells, it gains weight and density until it takes on the approximate characteristics of human muscle tissue. And this gave the samurai something to test their skills with, that 450 years later, there are still no activist groups complaining that the rights of rice straw is being violated. No, we're not going into that story and those stupid college kids. All right, now I have to. We were in Virginia. It was accuracy and timing and blade angle. Because those big sloppy figure-8 cuts you see when you're watching reruns of Conan the Barbarian late at night. Am I the only one that still does that? Thank you. I said that once and 600 people just sat there like they didn't know what I meant. I'm like, yep, thanks. Cinemax keeps that in play just for me. Those big sloppy cuts that you see Conan doing didn't work on the battlefield very well. You're looking for a little bit steeper cut, about a 35-degree angle down. Now that I've told off on myself, please watch the cuts, see what you think, and if you find my angle to be off by a lot, by all means, come tell me about it after the show. I love criticism. Downward diagonal. Right! Scarlet, your arm. Oh. No reaction at all. Oh, right, we're in Chicago. You're used to seeing incomplete forward passes. See, at least least you guys can laugh about it. I made that joke in Dallas once, and 200 armed anime fans were coming after it. The last time Chicago saw a completed forward pass of any relevance, it was Aaron Rodgers. I made a sports joke in Anime Con. Sports ball! Now the samurai didn't just cut down, they also cut back up. This cut was harder to perform, but it was really difficult to defend against. The upward diagonal cut, Kiriage. It was designed to hit at gaps in the armor, and samurai armor, they had a haidate. It was a divided metal apron, had metal on the outside of the thigh, but not on the inside because the samurai were cavalry. That means they rode horses. And if you've ridden a horse, metal on the inside of the thigh would chafe. So, no armor there. Prime target for samurai cut. Yeah! We're going this way. Oh my God, do you really think I can throw it that far left-handed? We're gonna try. You ready? If I get it out there, you have to catch it or you owe me 100 push-ups. Well, we don't want that. Just do your best to catch it, and we'll just leave buy a DVD instead. No pressure. You ready? Here we go. And I touched it. Well, for the Bears, that's good enough for a tryout. Samurai cut down, they cut back up, and just for the record, part of why we use a music stand to demonstrate test cutting with is because it travels easier. It's a lot lighter. The cutting stand that you normally use for Kenjutsu class is a big 4x4 post that fits into a metal bracket with a big floor plate. The whole thing weighs about 50 pounds. It is designed to be very stable, so when people who have questionable sword skills practice, it holds it in place. We're using a music stand that weighs 5 pounds and is on a wobbly tripod. I mean, look at this. That's partly because the travel is easier and partly because I'm trying to make a point that despite all the terrible jokes and the bad timing on things, we actually take samurai arts very seriously. And there's not a lot of people in the country that can do this part. If you don't believe me, when the show is over and you have free time, and you're not too sick of me, go on YouTube and type in Tommy Shigiri, that's test cutting, Tommy Shigiri fails, and watch all the videos of people doing stupid things with a sword that proves natural selection is alive and well. All right? And now that I've told off on myself and how wobbly and lightweight that stand is, we're going to do Yokogiri, the side cut, where we're going to go right about there between the two rubber bands, because this was the big cut that's in every samurai epic. You have the downward cut, you have the upward one, but at the end of every Samurai Jack episode, there's always a bad guy. He's big, he's smelly, he's got bad breath, barely speaks English. Actually, that sounds like the former governor of California. But he's flying towards the camera going, ah! And waiting for him on the other side is the hero of our picture. Better looking, speaks English, probably gets the girl at the end. But he's waiting to end the governor's part in the movie when he lands by cutting him in half. Go! What? Your arm, please? Really? I like that kid. I'll bet she's a handful at school, though. And two receivers on the same team got in each other's way, and the Bears are now 0 for 3. All right, there's still some cutting mat left. So one more bad joke, and I'm going to let you go. I'm going to do one more cut with this and see if I can avoid knocking erupt in thunderous applause and visit our merch table because therapy costs money. I have bills to pay. And if for no other reason, we have a Discord server that we just started that's free to join that has all the stupid things I say at cons collected and published for some terrible reason. And lots of pictures of our puppies. Remember, we have the Akita panel at 2. But join the Discord server. It makes me feel like I'm important. Oh, you are my favorite. Get that kid a wristband, too. Put it around her neck. No. All right, here we go. I'm going to make this last cut. You're going to applaud and visit the merch table. Are you ready? Yeah! I love the enthusiasm. You probably would have cheered louder if I wouldn't have obligated you for the merch table. But here we go. One last cut. You ready for this, Jill?
Yeah.
Right through the Terminator. I mean, Yoko Gary. It's not my arm, it's hers, and now for some reason we're up to 3. All right, we're going right-handed. I think I can reach the... You ready? Whoa! Cut off! Get that kid your Packers thing. That's obviously not projectiles. And we call it birdies. There's an actual Japanese term for it. Totegiri. It means birdies. The samurai would practice with things being thrown in the air and you cut them down with a sword. What it was practice for learning how to protect your daimyo, your lord, your boss. So if she's the person I'm trying to protect, I've got the sword, and you're a ninja assassin, and go, whoa, and throw a shuriken. You're not trying to kill me, not directly. That's your mission. So as a samurai, it's my job to step in front, because priority 1 is keep them alive. And then secondary, knock down the shuriken, because that lets me stay alive longer, which is more beneficial to her. So we actually practice that. So we start with full mats, toss them in the air, and you cut them, and then as you go, you get smaller and smaller. And so the smallest thing I've actually hit and cut down is a rubber throwing star, 5 inches in diameter, off the draw. Sword put away, and somebody going, zing! And me going, whwa! And the one time I hit it, I was like, yeah! Did anybody see the second Deadpool movie? Yeah. Alright, for those of you that did not nod and raise your hand, I had a perfect comeback for that, and I realized that it is Sunday, not Saturday night. And Cards Against Humanity has long since ended. So, unfortunately now my wife just got the joke, and she's going to be useless for the next 5 minutes. So while she's still useless, I'm going to let her swing a sword at me. What you need to understand about samurai warriors is that they were the nobility of feudal Japan. And as warriors, what that meant is wielding a sword was not a hobby. It wasn't a part-time gig. It wasn't something they did just when necessity arose. The samurai were professional, full-time warriors who dedicated themselves to martial science from a very early age. And by early age, for samurai children, at age 3, they were given sticks and told to go play with their siblings. This is parenting by natural selection. And I'm a big fan. Our 2 kids that lived turned out just fine. But for samurai arts then, since I want to get to the cutting part and how to hit somebody with a sword, but what we haven't done is teach you how to avoid getting hit by a sword. And obviously the first thing is to not come to one of our shows. Or if you do, sit further in the back. But beyond that, if some psychotic blonde draws a 2.5-foot sharpened razor blade and swings it violently at your head, it's important that you know what to do. Without training, normal human response to said psychotic blonde jumping out at you looks kind of like this. Hey, don't do me! The giggling part was not in the script. And yes, it worries me too. What you just saw me do was the flinch response. It's about one step up from the fetal position. And just to be clear, not only does the fetal position not work on the battlefield, it will not help you in your dating life either. Because when she gets angry at you, and she will, there's nothing you can do about it. Fetal position, for another guy, that's like, oh, dude, that's pathetic. Get up. For my wife, all she sees is target of opportunity. No. So fetal position is bad. And if you're going to start training in a Japanese martial art, almost everybody starts with, and this is our shout out to the greatest movie of all time, The Karate Kid. The original. Okay, there, now I got people nodding. We're going to ignore the fact they made another one that was released everywhere else in the world as the Kung Fu Kid. Except in this country where they assume we're too stupid to know that Japan and China are two different countries. I know what the difference is. One of them cooks their food. No. Hi, I teach Japanese martial arts, and I love fish, but I'm an Iowa farm kid. For the love of God, cook it. Hi, don't mind me. I just irritated the entire sushi community. I'm brave when I'm armed. Those blocks taught in Karate Kid. Show me, paint the fence. I love anime cons. That was last night at Cards. I started singing some really lame song and the whole audience just joined in. Said, show me, paint the fence. And half of you are going, yeah. Love you guys. Those really cool blocks were not intended to be used against a sword. If my wife comes jumping at you from around the corner and swings a sword violently at your face, if this is